Hi, guys. My name is Antonio Bouchel, and I want to talk to you, about diabetes, right? Diabetes, for those who who can had start with being diagnosed with diabetes. Let me put this disclaimer out there. I'm not a doctor, don't want to be a doctor, not trying to be a doctor, right? All I care about is, I care about truth. I care about my own health now. I can say it like that. I care about my health now, more so than I did before because, you know, um, this has been a long time coming, right? And I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to talk about my story, be very transparent with you with my walk with diabetes. Uh, you know, um, again, this is going to be my podcast where I'm going to talk about diabetes. I'm going to tell you about my stories and the things that I've done to be where I am today in terms of taking no medication. I was on metformin. I even took insulin. Well, we're going to talk about that. For a short period of time, I took insulin, but now I don't. It's been probably going on a year and a half. Probably going on a year and a half. I haven't taken any medication in terms of for my diabetes. I've maintained it. Uh, Dropped my A1C. It was at 6.5. I've got it down even at 5.6. That's tremendous. Trust me, that's great compared to where it used to be, which was a 12. Anybody who know anything about A1C, 12 is very high. My numbers was ranging between, I wouldn't even say between. My numbers were ranging in the 300 area easily. Where when I took my sugar, it was 300. And that tells you, how much sugar is in your blood at that time because of the insulin. I mean, because you're getting you're checking the blood and it's showing you that, hey, listen, this is the range or the amount of sugar that's flowing through your body now. It was at 300, and that's bad. For a non-diabetic, your sugar levels should always be, your blood levels should be, even after an hour or two of eating, your sugar levels should be anywhere between 70 to, I'll say, about 95, in that area, 70, 95 range. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm only telling you from what I've researched and me checking things out too. But keep it safe between 70, that 70, 80 area. Your sugar should be, your levels should be sugar in terms of, checking your blood. It should be in that range, especially when you first wake up in the morning. It shouldn't be anything over 100. If it is, then you could be pre-diabetes, be pre-diabetic or diabetic. But anyway, before I'm jumping ahead of this, I'm way jumping ahead of this, right? You can go online and type all of this stuff in, look this stuff up your own selves, just like I had to do. But listen, I'm going to tell you my story again. I'm Antonio Bouchel. Uh, I was diagnosed with diabetes. My God, probably about, I'll say about, I want to say about 20 years ago. I was attending Wayne State, the medical. Okay, so here you go. I used to work for the city of Detroit. It was Healthy Baby. Healthy Baby. I used to work for Healthy Baby, and I was a driver for Healthy Baby for a number of years. And Healthy Baby, what we did was we transported pregnant women to their doctor's appointments, and that's what we did. We transport them to the doctor's appointment to make sure that they were healthy and that they were maintaining everything that they should do so that they will keep their baby. Infant mortality is very serious in impoverished areas, communities. and we were helping to fight against that infant mortality. So but anyway, in that we had to go to school, and we went to Wayne State. It was their medical center, and they taught us like within like 8 months. We had to, they were just cramming us with just all type of information dealing with pregnant women and culture, especially culture, stereotypes. We had to learn all of that type of stuff. And we had to take tests at the end of the week. It was a great class. I learned a lot about people, people in general, how we deal with certain type of ethnicities, right? I'm trying to say the word, right? So anyway, yeah, we had to take that crash course. It lasted, I think it was like I forget how long it was, but it was, I think, about 6 months or 6 weeks or something like that. A year worth of studies. It was crammed in us, and we even could have gotten credit for it. But dealing I guess the certificate was paraprofessional in that area. But anyway, that's when I found out I was diabetic. That's when I found out I was diabetic, because I was lightheaded all of the time. And maybe you guys, maybe there's someone out there who need to get checked to make sure that you're not diabetic, or to see where are you. I was lightheaded all of the time. Middle of the night, always had to use the bathroom, pee, urinate, whatever you want to call it, dry mouth, But I was more lightheaded during the day, especially when I ate something, when I ate something, I would get really sluggish. That was another sign. I would get really sluggish, wanted to go to sleep. Some people call it the itis or whatever, but I was sleepy, right after I would eat. And then a lot of times, I don't even know if it was what, some people could say maybe it was what you were eating is what. I don't know that, because I didn't know I was diabetic, right? Just whatever I ate, if I ate a lot of it, I would become sluggish, sleepy. Had to urinate a lot. But that lightheadedness is what really got me. I was, one day I was sitting in class, and I told the professor, and the professor said, well, maybe you need to just go to the doctor and get a checkup, and I took that advice and went. I went to emergency because I was lightheaded. I was just too lightheaded. And I was diagnosed as being diabetic, type 2 diabetic, and, when I first got that news, I was obviously, we always surprised and shocked, right? We are. At that time, I don't know if I knew if my father was diabetic, but my mother definitely was diabetic. Her mother was diabetic. I think I don't know if my grandmother was, but I know my grandfather was. He was diabetic. Auntie diabetic, ran in the family. I don't know on my father's side, but then later down the years I found out my father was diabetic, right? So it ran in the family, right? And I was diagnosed with it, so when the first start of being diabetic, you be like, okay, I'm going to deal with this. And this was my thinking, I'm going to deal with this, I'm going to take this on. I was married at the time, still married now, but, I was married, and, I just say, what, I'm going to beat this. You think about all the things that happen to your family members, how some of them died from diabetic complications and different things such as that nature, right? So, you just say, I'm going to be the one that overcome this. I'm going to overcome this. You even get in the prayer line when you go to church, right? You get prayer, the whole 9 yards. Oh, yeah, lay hands on you. I remember this one minister who laid hands on me. He said that it was because of sin in your life, whatever, that you contracted. I don't know. That's what he said. I don't, But anyway, I was prayed for, whole 9 yards. And, you just want to overcome this, right? In that first state, when you're first told, you get this attitude where I'm going to beat this, and you actually work on it. I remember even when I first, got diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, I was, I was running, exercising, and guess what? I was probably, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I believe at that time, I don't believe I was diabetic. I believe that I was pre-diabetic. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I would check my sugar after working out and getting myself together, choosing what I call at the time proper foods to eat, my sugar wasn't high. And I remember it staying in the 70s, like in the 70s, in that area when I would check my sugar. And I really believed that I wasn't type 2. I think I was pre-diabetic, at that time, but that's a great thing to get checked too. Make sure that you could be pre-diabetic, or you could be diabetic, right? So, but talk to your doctor on that. Go to your doctor. Definitely get checked though. Don't go another day. If you have those signs that I've talked about, don't go another day without getting checked, without talking to your doctor so that they can sit down and talk with you about diabetes. I'll go that far and say it that way, because that's what I didn't do. I got checked. They said I had it, but I just believe I was pre-diabetic. But anyway, which is a lot of us are, you'll learn more about being insulin resistant. You'll learn that terminology. Look up insulin resistant. Look that terminology up and learn about being insulin resistant, because a lot of us can be not even diabetic, but you still could be insulin resistant, and that can help. That can be a problem to not losing weight like you want. And a lot of other problems can occur just by being insulin resistant. But again, look up that word, check that out. Definitely check that out, because I learned that down the line about being insulin resistant, and just learn more about it. And you know what? It's not, when you're diagnosed with diabetes, it's a great time to research it. And I think a lot of times we get caught up that way because we let the doctor give us our diagnose, right? Tell us what we are, or what we have, and we leave it there. We leave it there in the doctor's hand, and we take the report and say, okay, what I got to do. But we don't really look up the research and understand what is being a diabetic. What does that mean? So that I can understand definitely about educating myself and knowing what to do about it. Because sometimes when you're diagnosed, it's like you're left alone. They might give you a pamphlet, tell you to read about it. They might tell you how it affects your eyes, it affects your feet, your hands, your heart. Diabetes, oh my God, having those high levels of blood sugar in your body, in your blood for a long time, it affects the whole body, the liver, the brain, it affects everything, the circle, your nervous system, blood flow. It affects so much in your body if it's not caught. If it's not dealt with, if it's not managed at the right time. And that's crucial. Now I will say that's crucial. Managing diabetes, as soon as you find out you have it, you have to get on it right away, because you don't want those that sugar in your body, in your blood for so long. You don't want it. It caused so many problems. And I face some of those problems even today because of that. But anyway, that's why it's great to get educated on diabetes. Don't just take the pamphlet. Read about it, understand what it is, but do your own research in knowing what it does and what it affects and how it affects it. Living in this Western world, Oh my God. The sugar that's in the food that we eat is terrible. I mean, it's terrible. But we're so addicted to sugar that we don't even realize how addicted to sugar we really are. You know, we're so addicted to the Western world is so addicted to sugar that is crazy. It is crazy. And I know I was one of those people, obviously, that was addicted to sugar. And if I don't watch it even now, it's easy to fall back to it. Because it's in everything you can think of, just about. It's just about, even in the vegetables and the fruits and vegetables that you love, it's in there. And if you don't know how to eat in moderation, you pretty much, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But educating yourself to understand how to fight against diabetes is a great thing, because I'm going to be honest now, just a shot at the doctors. I am going to say this. Not all doctors, but the first thing they want to do is throw medication down your gut. That's what they want to do. They'll tell you, oh, you got to watch what you eat, but it doesn't go any farther than that unless they're really, they really want you to know about educating yourself. If I was a doctor, even though I diagnose you, I'm definitely going to make sure that you are talking with a certified nutritionist. It goes down the rabbit hole even more. I'm gonna tell you. Okay, anyway, so because I could talk a long time on this. I want to hit some points. I'm going to tell you my story. I was, like I said, I was diagnosed with diabetes over 20 years ago. Went to the doctor. They told me I had type 2 diabetes. I thought I was going to, at that time, fight it. And I did fight a long time. When I mean fight, I mean in terms of trying to watch what I ate, exercise. Those are some keys. Those are some strong keys. I took medication. I believe that I took the metformin. I was taking the metformin. I don't really remember that. I really don't remember, because I don't remember being prescribed medication at that time. That's why sometimes I believe that they told me that I was pre-diabetic, not diabetic. But anyway, eventually I started taking metformin. But I never forget that, when I found out, and how shocked I was. But I down the line, after a while, I fell off. What do I mean by that? I started back eating whatever it is I wanted to eat. And, I didn't care, because, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know if it's that I didn't care, or was it I just didn't understand what I was doing in terms of food. Didn't understand how, my body rejected, the carbs. It wasn't burning off those carbs like it should have been, and not taking breaks when eating food. What does that mean? Well, not eating all day. I was eating just to eat. Going throughout the day, not giving that sugar enough the time to burn off in my body, the insulin to fight that, but when you become numb to that and then insulin resistance kicks in, and you're not even burning off the sugar, you're not. And you have to look that stuff up to get a little deeper in it. But anyway, for so many years, I would go work out, try to work out, stay committed for probably about a couple of weeks, 6 weeks, fall off, because I wasn't really sticking with the plan. You know what I mean? Still eating crazy. Slow down just a little bit. I think that one of the first things I kicked, the habit was pop. Pop is one of the things that there's so much sugar in the pop. I kicked that, but then I'll go back to it. You know what I mean? But then I'll kick it again, and over time, that's playing on your body. It is. It's playing on your body. It's constantly just playing on your body, meaning the sugar that you're just dumping down your throat, It's getting into your blood system, and it's causing and wreaking havoc, even when you even know that you're sleepy from eating all of this crazy food. And the carbs, eating those carbs was crazy. What? Pastas, getting pastas, eating the bread, and one of the things I did pick up was white floury foods, dealing with the white flour foods, that was, like I said, pasta, bread, anything else you can name them that goes inside the ingredients, the sugary syrups, that's inside of a lot of different foods that we eat, like in ketchups and condiments. You know what I mean? It's so much stuff that you have to be aware of. We're going to talk about that. We're going to definitely talk about that. And guys, I wasn't aware of a lot of this stuff. I was eating it. I said, okay, well, this is healthier. Going to Subway is healthier, but you're still eating the bread. And believe it or not, some of the turkey that's inside that Subway have sugar in it, I believe. Don't quote me. I don't want Subway coming after me. You know what I mean? But I believe. I'm not. Don't quote me on it. They're not really sugar, but you could taste some of the sweet or sugars. No, it is. It is in some of the processed. I'll say that in some of the processed meats. They're not as healthy as we think they are, and then we put it on our subs sandwiches with the bread and the whatever sides you put on, and it still becomes sugar. Breaks down the sugar within our body, and then our sugars hasn't went down, because then we add a cookie with that, or we add different things with that, and that just keeps those sugar levels high, and it's becoming real sensitive to getting rid of the sugar in our body, which the insulin that we normally pumps help us to do. But we become numb to that because we got so much sugar just flowing through our bodies, and it's not fighting it off like it should. So our sugar levels just stay high. It just stays high. I mean, that's what I experience. Again, I'm not a doctor. That's what I experienced. And, one of the things that I did, and I still do today, well, whatever I eat, I'll check my blood sugar to see where is it. If it's not where it should be, then I know you don't need that. And it's not that I'll overeat. It's just that that and that you're talking about load, it's a whole lot of different terminologies that you have to learn and pick up. And maybe we'll have to talk about it, but I want you to do the research. You can check out foods that you can eat from foods you can't eat, and why. Have you ever eaten something where it has it have the sugar in it, but then it'll rush you and make you sleepy real quick? And then you can eat some foods where it doesn't rush you as fast. It takes the time and ease up on you. Well, you're going to learn about that. Why does that do that? Because it's very important to the foods that you choose to eat on. Again, I'm not a doctor. I want to make sure that's known, but I only can tell you things that I know that worked for me and that are working today from the choices of food that I decided to eat. Later down the line, what messed me up even more, and I'm going to go there, was... And I'll say like that, I won't blame it on this particular diet, but I would say not really not really doing a lot of educating myself in this area, and that's the vegan lifestyle. The vegan lifestyle was terrible for me because, for one, I didn't really do a lot of research in it. I mean, obviously, stay away from anything that has meat in it. That's, stay away from anything that has meat in it, or meat products or whatever. Stay away from that. If you stay away from that, you should be good. And see, that's the misconception. It's not true, because while you're staying away from the meats that you shouldn't be eating, you're consuming the carbs because you're hungry. all the time. A lot of times we be hungry. I was vegan for 2 years. And in our minds we think we're healthy because we're not eating meat. But you are consuming a lot of carbs. A lot of individuals, not everybody. Some people, they really keep that plant-based diet. They really keep that, and that's when you have to really educate yourself in that plant-based diet, because just like they have something called clean keto, dirty keto, I believe they have something that should be called dirty vegan, clean vegan. And a lot of times we choose dirty vegan, dirty keto, but we think we're healthy because of the choices of staying away from meat. And it's way deeper than that. And in that, I'm going to tell you what, when I became a vegan, my sugar level stayed high as crap. I believe it stayed more higher than before I became vegan, because I was consuming a lot of carbs, always hungry, so I'll turn to different things because, this is cool. And listen, Oreo cookies, you're still diabetic, man. You don't get it? Even though it says it's vegan, they're vegan free, it's still not sugar free. You feel what I'm saying? It still have a lot of carbs in it, and I'm not blaming it on the vegan diet. I'm not blaming the vegan diet, but I am saying not educating yourself about the vegan diet could still harm you. Just because you're not eating meat does not mean that for a diabetic that's the proper thing to do, because it's not. It's really not. You still have to follow other protocols, because it's not and to be honest with you, if that meat is farm raised, farm finished, that meat is not actually bad, and it's not. It doesn't have a high level of sugar in it, if any sugar is in it, depending on the meat. And that's facts right there, because again, I've tried that and tested it, and it works. There's so many misconceptions out here. I believe you have to try this stuff out on your own so that you would know. But here's the thing. I digress. I go back, a little bit, but I'll say this, the first thing about beating or taking control, getting back the control of managing your diabetes is the mindset. This is the first thing you have to take control over. It's not the food, it's this mind here. You have to take control over this mind, knowing what is it that you want to do, because it will affect your body. That's a guarantee that these foods out here, if you're diabetic or even pre-diabetic, it will affect you in the long run. And I mean, and I'm talking about these complications can go out of hand, all because of not having the control that you should have in terms to maintain and manage your diabetes. And that's a big thing. So the first thing that you have to do is have the mindset to know, hey, listen, there's certain foods out there that will affect me, and I have to stay away from those foods and those sugars. Stay away from all sugar, pretty much, at least until your body is able to catch back up in terms of that insulin resistance. The reason why you're insulin resistant is because you haven't even given your body time, haven't even given it a break to heal so that it can deal with the sugar that you have in your body for long hours and long time or days, just sitting in your body, because you haven't given your body a break from all of that sugar, so it can get rid of that sugar. Learn about insulin resistance. Because it's going to matter in the long run. Your body needs a break from it. You learn terminologies about fasting. About how it's good to go on even fast for a certain amount of time, and stop eating at a certain time in the day. That's a great thing for diabetics in terms of insulin resistance. Sometimes it's great to stop, to cut off, stop eating at a certain time of the day, and don't go until a certain time the next day. You know, it's great to do that. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that. I'm just really kind of just running through some things and just talking about me in general in terms of my journey with diabetes and my failures with diabetes, because again, I didn't have any self-control. I was eating whatever I wanted to eat. And when I got on that vegan diet, man, I went ham, because I was like, wow, it's not meat, so I'm good. No, I'm still high levels of sugar in my body, And I would tell people, I would go to the doctor and I would tell them, well, they'll say, Antonio, your sugar levels are so high. I said, and I don't know why. I would say, I don't know why, because I'm eating healthy. See, that was the key. I said, I'm eating healthy, but I wasn't. I really wasn't eating healthy. I thought I was eating healthy because I was avoiding meat products. I was eating a lot more of vegetables, but I'm gonna be honest, as a diabetic, some vegetables you shouldn't even eat because they have sugar in it. And see, that's the thing, you just don't know. You just don't know unless you do the research. Some fruits, you think because, I can eat these certain fruits, I'm gonna be great, like watermelon. A lot of sugar is in watermelon. It is. I mean, some people may say this is subjective, but I can only tell you what worked for me and what does not work for me. I couldn't eat grapes. It's too much sugar in grapes. There's a lot of fruits I couldn't eat. Berries, I could eat the berries. I could eat the strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. I can eat those in moderation. In moderation, I could eat those. And I'm gonna be honest, I even got away with eating a peach. The glycemic level was not that high in those areas. You'll learn even about what does glycemic mean. Those are terminologies that, as a diabetic, you need to know. You need to know. These are terminologies that you need to know. And I'm going to put up some of those terminologies about different names that you define words you need to look up. You need to define those words so you will know for yourself, because it plays a part into your diabetes. I'm not going to talk for long. Again, this is just me introducing this podcast that I'm going to talk about diabetes, my walk with diabetes, and what I've done to reverse my insulin resistance and eating better. I'm not going to tell you that I haven't eaten a slice of cheesecake since I've been in this state. I have. I'm not going to lie and tell you that I haven't. I've eaten some things that have sugar in it, moderation, and it doesn't affect my blood levels anymore. I have done that. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but I also work out. I also run on a treadmill. I think that I eat, I try to eat healthy. I still eat meat. I went back to pause. You get what I mean? What I'm saying? Keto, I do eat, farm raised meats. And I don't do that all the time because sometimes it can be expensive, but when I first started, because I live more of the keto life now, and the keto life works for me. I'm not saying it works for everybody, but it works for me. I've maintained healthy blood levels. I'm talking about like 102, in blood levels, 120 in blood levels, which is really good. Sometimes 95, it has worked for me, But you have to get around to listen. Sugar is your enemy, especially the levels of sugar. It is your enemy. Carbs depend on how many carbs you put in your body, you consume, could be your enemy. I'm not saying not all carbs. It depends on how much, I know with the keto lifestyle, you try to stay between 20 carbs a day, like 20 carbs. If, some can even go lower. Some can probably go up to 50. I'm not, depends. I don't know if you'd be out of keto, but, but maintaining that 20 is ideal carbs. Is it tough? I mean, depends on the person. Depends on the person. It wasn't tough for me. Listen, sometimes you have to get a hard awakening, and I went to the eye doctor to get my eyes checked, and, the doctor was like, hey, listen, your eyes, diabetes is in your eyes now, because of your blood levels being so high. This was probably about a year ago. Is in your eyes, and you have to take care of what's going on with you. You obviously out of control, and now the diabetes is affecting those parts of your body, which it was because of those high levels of sugar that's in your body. And that scared the freak out of me, right? I don't want to be blind, So, I went to the doctor, my doctor, and my doctor told me, hey, listen, you need to be on insulin. I didn't want to accept that. He said, you need to be on insulin. And I said, okay. He said, yeah, until you can get this together, because you have to get those sugar levels down. Why? Because I hadn't been managing it. Barely would even check my sugar. He said, you need to get those sugar levels down. And, I took him at his word. I took the insulin when they stick it in your stomach. I did it. This is my story, guys. I did it. But before I did it, I went home. I prayed about it. I said, God, I don't want to take, insulin for the rest of my life. But then I did some research. I'm not going to go down that story right now, down that line right now, because again, these are things that I did for me that worked. You know what I mean? I prayed about it, and then I started doing research, and then that's when I actually looked into the keto. I've always heard about keto, but then I looked into it after I got all this bad news, and I wanted to find out, and I looked up. The key was not really keto that I looked up. I understood about being insulin resistance, because it was some things that didn't make sense to me with taking insulin, because I thought that, for type 1 diabetes, it's because you don't have enough insulin. But type 2, your body can pump too much insulin. You already have insulin, and you're getting more put in your body with insulin. Even though it lowers it, but it didn't make sense to me, and I had to do some research in that area, and I figured some things out, and I did something different, and it worked for me. We'll talk about that. Some things just didn't make sense to me, and I would talk to my doctor about it. Me and my doctor would actually argue over this stuff until I start showing those facts. I start showing receipts. What? My own insulin, my own A1C. And it was working. And it's working today. And they're blown away, because of just my own research that I did for my body. Again, I only can talk about my body and what works for me. But talk to your doctor. See, here's the thing. It's not the fact that I went against my doctor. We had conversation about this situation. So it's not, he didn't know, I still have two doctors, and they're both like, wow, especially, endocrinologists. I believe it's like endocrinologists or something. They work with people with diabetes. And she was blown away because I mean, my sugar would be even going with her. My A1C will always be up there high. I think I got it down to at least about a 9, but then after that, I went 3 months, hadn't seen her, came back, it was a 6. Once I caught on to understanding how this thing really works, and she was blown away. She said, "Oh my God, you went from a 9 to a 6, and maintained it. Went down to 5.6. There's even ways you can check your own A1C. We'll talk about that. Guys, I'm gonna get off. I just wanted to let you know I'm going to be coming on. We're going to talk about my journey with diabetes and things that I've used that work for me, and hopefully it'll work for you. Talk to your doctor. But most importantly, do the research about diabetes. Do the research about being pre-diabetic. A lot of times we, even at pre-diabetic, I'm pre-diabetic. I'll be all right. Just change some things. And that could be true. Just need to tweak some things, but you need to do it. Don't sit around waiting till you become diabetic because you couldn't tweak some things, So you want to do that as well. But again, we're going to be talking more and more about this journey of mine. Hopefully my journey will help you with yours. And that's all I'll say. Until the next time, I'm Antonio. I'll talk to you later.